What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and check out the content. With that being said, man, I want to talk about James Harden. And a lot of people have been going in on James Harden and talking about like his style of play. And is his style of play conducive for like winning basketball? And so my thoughts on that are I don't really think so. And I think James Harden is going to be, for some people, is going to be a cautionary tale because the things that you do throughout like the regular season in basketball should really be preparing you for the playoffs. That's just like when people say, well, if you want to get time, if you want to earn minutes on a basketball team, then what you do in practice will determine what you will you be able to get time. And so it's almost like it's a buildup. So if you want to be on the basketball court, then you got to do the right things in practice that'll get you there. And so while you're on the court, if you want to be in playoffs and you want to be in championships, then you got to do the right things in order to to prepare you for that next level. And so when you look at like James Harden and his style of play, he never really seemed to adjust his game to do what was going to elevate him and what was going to be able to get him over the hump. And that's why anytime James Harden get into the playoffs, he always struggled, because the same things he do in the regular season are the things that he tried to do in the playoffs. And by that time, people, everybody knows that, what he's going to do. And they just make him do something different, or they turn him into a high volume shooter and his percentages go down. He turned the ball over and stuff like that. And he has never throughout his career really addressed those issues and tried to get better at anything. And so he just keep on, doing the same thing over and over every year, year after year. Right. And so this came up in discussion on who discussed this? Chris Broussard and Nick Wright discussed this, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the audio from what they had to say about James Harden and his struggles in the playoffs. And then I'm going to come back and add some of my input.
I would like to apologize to Lamar Jackson and Aaron Judge and any other athlete who's an all-time great regular season player who hits some speed bumps in the postseason that I have compared to James Harden. There is only one James Harden. There will ever only be one James Harden. We've never seen anyone like this guy. And the numbers are what the numbers are, and it will go on my broadcaster resume. That one incorrectly worded tweet that got into the zeitgeist. He sure does have a bunch of games with as many turnovers as field goals, because now you see it everywhere. But here's the updated ticker on that one. That's now above 25%. 46 of 182. Career playoff games with 3 or fewer made buckets. That's 20% of his career playoff games. 37 of 182. And here's maybe the worst part, Brew. Those are all offensive numbers. Offense was not the worst part of his game yesterday. In the player tracking era, Harden became the first player ever to have an opponent go at 7 for 7 or better on drives to the basket against him. It is an unwinnable style of basketball, Brew. They traded for him for this time of year, which the moment they did it was insane.
Shame on the Cavaliers for thinking James Harden was going to solve your playoff woes. They brought in James Harden thinking he's going to get us over the top. If you would have brought in James Harden to put butts in the seats during the regular season, to be a great regular season player,
stimulate the local nightclub economy,
that would have been one thing. You brought him in to solve your playoff problem. And this is what you got. Shame on them. And I'm saying it. I feel sorry for James Harden now. He is one of the few players in NBA history who is both an elite, all-time elite scorer and all-time elite playmaker. But something happens in the big games. And there was a time when I gave him the benefit of the doubt. his rookie, or not rookie year, but we was young
with
with
OKC.
OKC. They got to the finals. He struggled as a sixth man. I was like, he's young. I mean, he'll be fine.
No.
But there is something in these plays. That last turnover, he just kind of lost his dribble. I get there were two Cavs near him. He kind of just lost his dribble.
It's
like
impossible.
I don't know. It's a block, and you said it from his college.
All right, so let me say this about like because I watched a lot of basketball over the years, and I think James Harden is one of those players too who I see that he moved around a lot, right? And so when you move around a lot as a basketball player, it just seems that when you don't take the opportunity to better your game. You like the skill set that he had in OKC, he took that to Houston. And then the skill set that he had in Houston, he took that to Brooklyn, right? And then, from team to team, it's the same skill set. Whereas though had James Harden stayed at one team and said, I'm going to do every year, I'm going to improve my game and I'm going to add a new skill set so I can get over the hump. Like if people playing me to my left, then I'm going to work on my right so I can be able to be more effective. If they playing me physical, I'm going to go get stronger. But when you move around from team to team, like the same skill set he had from day one is basically the same skill set that he have now. And that in day one, that skill set was not good enough to get him over the hump. And that's why I thought that, I think that kids who are coming into the league today, they're going to watch and they see James Harden and they're going to tough it out. You already see it. I don't think like these guys are going to move around. These new guys in the NBA are going to move around as much as these guys, the older guys did in the past, because you don't give yourself a chance to be able to persevere, to weather storms when you just, as soon as things get uncomfortable, you just roll out and you go somewhere else. Whereas though you don't have to, at any point in time in your career, you don't have to like look inside and see, well, what am I doing? What can I do to get over the hump and make the situation better? So James Harden basically now, he put up a lot of numbers, but he's the same player in I don't know what year he's in, but he's basically the same player. He plays the same style he did from day one. And you can't go back to and say, well, oh yeah, you can see how he really developed his low post game, or James Harden has really gotten stronger. This deep into your career, no way you should be turning the ball over like at the clip that he turned the ball over, especially if people who want to make it to the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs, right? And so now with the NBA, I see it getting back to the way it was like in the early 2000s and in the 90s and stuff like that, whereas though people take care of the ball more. So a player like James Harden who turned the ball over like that is not going to be able to get away with like this era right here was perfect for James Harden, because he would not have been able to turn a ball over like this and still, go around and getting paid from different teams and stuff like that. Especially when you think about the guards that they had back in the 90s and the 2000s who didn't turn the ball over like that, who performed, right? Like in the big game, you can see them getting better. I remember watching Avery Johnson, and it don't even have to be like the best guards in the league. Like Avery Johnson, I watched him get better, like to put San Antonio in a position where as though he's not hurting the teams, because teams used to back off of Avery Johnson for the Spurs, right? Because he couldn't hit that outside shot. Then he worked on his outside shot, and when teams backed off of him, he started hitting that shot. Now the game has changed. Same thing with another guard like Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher won a championship with the Lakers, right? And Derek Fisher took care of the ball. He didn't turn the ball over, but he made sure that he could hit those open shots. So when you double Shaq and you sag, and you had to double Kobe, Derek Fisher was able to knock those short shots down, and so he kept you honest, right? He didn't turn the ball over. Like if Derek Fisher was somebody who was prone to turn the ball over, you couldn't play with Kobe. You couldn't play with Shaq. If Danny Ainge, like when Danny Ainge was with the Celtics, like if you playing with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale you can't turn the ball over as a guard because now you don't give them the opportunity to do what they do, down at the offensive end of the court. So you gotta take care of the ball. And James Harden, like, to me, he's not even in that category of, I'm not even saying great point guards. I'm talking about like Derek Fisher, Avery Johnson, Danny Ainge, those kind of guys, right? He don't even do what they do to that level. And so for him to have the stats that he had just proved that this era of basketball, in my opinion, it was an off era. And I think this era is fading out. And as these guys leave the league, man, you're going to see this new crop of basketball players that's coming in just going to raise the bar because you can't be successful like that. And these guys want to be successful. They don't want, like I don't care how many points you score. I think this era right here, man, you need to put a lot of asterisks. Kevin Durant, James Harden, LeBron James. You got to put asterisks by their name, man, because this era right here was crazy. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I'll check y'all out in the next video. Peace.